Singing tip number 1, warm up your voice. So I can't tell you how many people feel that singing alone is the way that they should be warming up their voices. Having a very clear and detailed vocal warm-up in the morning or before a performance is extremely important for getting your voice into shape and being able to get it to the place where it needs to be able to perform. So finding a vocal warm-up that works for you and where your voice is at that day is really important. And what I mean by that is every day we come to the table with different circumstances and with the way our voice is that day. So some days your voice might be a little bit heavy and feel a little bit like stuffed up. So then you got to really work on opening it up, getting that upper range. Sometimes it might feel like very, very light and that you need to work on your lower range. You really need to work for what your voice circumstances are for that day. Tip number 2, sing in front of a mirror. I can't tell you how important this is and how much headache this can help you avoid. If you were to sing in front of a mirror, you'll be able to notice any tension spots as you're doing it. So if I sing here like this, I can see things are getting tight. I can see my face is getting involved. That's not what we want. We want to try to find release, keeping the face nice and relaxed. As we go through our whole range. So we want to be able to identify those tension spots, and a mirror is one of the best ways to do it. So practice in the bathroom. In addition to having a mirror in the bathroom, you also have some really awesome acoustics, which will help you feel good about your voice. Tip number 3, don't sing louder as you go higher. So many people hold the belief that in order to go higher, I have to go louder. My voice can't possibly make higher sounds without getting louder. And I think partially this comes from the way naturally we get louder. When we start to get excited about something, our pitch rises and we start to get louder. You know, it's hard to get excited about something without it necessarily getting louder and higher. But when it comes to singing, that's not necessarily true. We can start from a very quiet sound. So we can start with a very, very quiet sound on the bottom and carry that quiet sound all the way through our range. We don't have to get louder. So practice keeping it really quiet as you move through your entire range. Your voice will thank you.
If you're interested in learning more on how to sing, I created a resource that I wish would have been around when I was starting to sing. With the subscription I've created, you get access to all of the courses that I've created and more that are coming. You get access to all of my private lesson recordings that I have from other students so you can learn vicariously through them. And you get monthly one-on-one lessons with me. All of this is available for one low monthly price, and it's a very well-rounded approach to learn how to sing. Click the link down below to get access now.
Tip number 4, practice in different ways. So I recently had somebody reach out to me on email and they said that they didn't realize until they saw one of my videos that what they were doing and how they were practicing was actually the part of what was holding them back. So in this example, the person was always singing with regular tracks, so never instrumental tracks without a voice in it. They were always singing with the original track very loud. And what this did was it always masked any problems that they might have had, and they weren't able to identify specific issues. When you practice in many different ways in different situations, you actually allow your voice to become much more consistent. For example, with myself, I entered a singing competition about 7 years ago, and when I entered that competition, I knew I had no experience singing live. So what I did was, before that singing competition, I worked for months going to karaoke and singing live in front of people, so that way I would get used to that sort of environment and singing in that environment. And it was amazing how much changed when I was performing by myself with nobody watching versus when I started singing in front of other people. There was a whole new set of problems that came about with dry mouth, tension, nervousness. All these things start to come into play that you wouldn't normally have when you're just practicing alone. So practice in many different circumstances, many different places, many different situations, and your voice will become much better and much more consistent overall. Number 5, when you're practicing, and specifically practicing with vowels, you want to make sure that you have vowel consistency while keeping in mind vowel modifications. So as we move through our range, by and large, we want to try to keep our vowels the same from bottom to top. there's one part in our range, which is our bridge, that some things need to change. So other than those small portions that need to actually change and should be modified very, very gradually and very, very small, we want to try to keep things pretty much the same. So if I was singing na 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 na, I wouldn't want it to go na 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 na. If you notice at the top, it started to open up more towards na. We want to keep it all the way through until we have to make a modification in our bridge range. So different vowels change. It's not the time or the place to talk about vowel modifications because it's a very, very long topic, but suffice it to say, try to keep those vowels as consistent as possible from bottom to top. All right, tip number 6, start singing with emotion. And this is where it gets very difficult to be learning by yourself. For those who are self-taught, this is an aspect that kind of needs to be coaxed out of people that don't naturally have it. If there's some part of you that's lacking emotional connection with the song, your audience is going to hear it. So if you sing the song with a dead face and you just feel nothing for the song, that's going to come across. So you want to make sure that you're actually engaging the right emotion when you're singing the song. So part of this is actually getting into the role of it, right? You may not necessarily know what the singer in the song actually felt at that moment, and you may not have experienced that loss or that breakup or whatever it might be, or that love, but you can still put on the act and imagine yourself and try to empathize with that character of that role and begin to take it on and portray that in the song itself. So again, you want to make sure that you're not singing with zero emotion and that people don't feel like you're bored. And this was actually a problem that I had when I was first starting to sing, was that a lot of people commented, you sound like you're bored while you're singing. So back then I was trying to undo tension, and like the only way I knew how to do that was to just calm everything down to the point where I just sounded like I was dead and just kind of singing like this. But that's not the way to sing. A lot of our problems with singing can be fixed if we get the right emotional underpinnings beneath the song. Tip number 7, write down your singing goals and set a time limit for them. This is something that really works with any goals that you set in life. Writing them down is extremely important and makes it much, much more likely that you will actually reach that goal. So now that we're starting the new year, it's a great time to be setting those goals and writing them down and having a step-by-step plan to be able to get yourself to that goal. That's going to make a huge difference in your progress, and it'll help you identify any help that you need along the way to be able to reach that goal. Number 8, go through exercises that you're doing mindfully. So I can't tell you how many people just run through and they just keep going and going, but they never actually stop to address the problem that's happening there in their voice. So being mindful of, is there any tension? And this helps with a mirror. If you are looking in a mirror, you can be much more mindful of physically what's going on, but also sound-wise, what is happening to the sound? Is this getting closer or further away from the end result of a release sound, of a sound that's getting me closer to my end goal? And if you're in the middle of that scale and it starts to go awry, you gotta work on that spot where it started to go awry. Don't just move ahead and run through and plow through that vocal warm-up just to get it done. It's not about getting it done. It's about taking a very clear step-by-step approach to be able to improve it. Number 9, when you're practicing or when you're in a lesson, just let go of any inhibitions that you have. Make sure that you have a lesson space and a practice space that is not going to make you feel inhibited or worried that other people are going to hear you and judge you. You got to make sure that you have a safe spot where you can make any noise and any sort of sound, because much of learning to sing is experimenting with your voice and getting your voice to a place where it really hasn't gone before. And we can't really go there if we're just held back with inhibitions. And finally, number 10, define your goals very clearly. I can't tell you how many people reach out to me and they're like, how long will it take me to get to be a professional sound? Well, what is a professional sound? Define your terms. Because for one person, Bob Dylan is a professional sound. For another person, Freddie Mercury is a professional sound. For another person, Pavarotti is a professional sound. And anything less is not going to be what they want. Defining your goals, defining your terms is extremely important important when it comes to setting those goals while you're singing, because it'll give you a clearer idea of whether you've reached that goal or whether you haven't. Saying I just want a professional sound, it's not measurable. But saying I want to be able to sing up to a G without strain is a much more reachable goal, something that is clearly defined. So those are my top 10 tips for all you singers out there. Hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you want to watch more videos like this, check out this one. You're gonna like it.